The moment I say a phone for about 100, maybe 160 bucks, the moment we say those words, people think a lot of compromises, a lot of things that are not going to work, and a phone that I'll probably say like that doesn't even really make sense to purchase. Well, I'm actually here to try to convince you otherwise with the brand new Poco C65. This device comes in at that price point, but we're talking about a 6.74-inch display. We're talking about a 90 Hz refresh rate display on there. And of course, we're also talking about a 5,000 milliampere battery, a decent, well, say probably a decent camera on here, like a 50 megapixel camera that allows us to take some really good pictures, but still coming in at that ultra budget friendly device price point that we probably never think about when we're talking about a smartphone that is as big as this. And not only that, provide us so much more, well, I'll probably say so many hours of content consumption that it's crazy not to consider it. Like and subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell icon so they're always notified whenever we have new videos on the channel. So in front of us is the actual box. It's pretty simple, and I'll probably say this. It is about $150 phone. So when we say that, we need to also keep in mind the level of experience that we're getting in here. First things first, we do have a 5,000 milliampere battery here. We do have technically a dual camera setup here on the back, not really three, although we do see the three things in there. The primary camera is going to be at the top. That's going to be the best camera that we have on this device. Again, a 50 megapixel camera. And of course, a macro lens, which I feel like we're probably not going to use. So for the most part, just consider this a device with a large battery and one main really good camera on the back. And one of the big things obviously is the processor. This is a MediaTek Helio G85, again, a budget-friendly series of processors that we get there. 50 megapixel triple camera, although again, keep in mind, single camera, those two pretty much just basically work as macro lenses. 6.74-inch 90 Hz display for obviously the nice, really large display with a high refresh rate. And of course, we have an 18-watt fast charging capability, and it does support it, although the charger in the box does not support 18 watt, but we'll talk about that. And of course, 5,000 milliampere battery that helps us actually enjoy all the content that we want to actually watch and do with on this device. In the box, they do include a USB-A, USB-C cable, as well as a USB-A charger that is actually European style. The biggest thing, again, you're able to charge it up to 18 watts, as I'm showing you guys with that nice little clip, and it does have fast charging, or consider it to be fast charging, considering the fact that we have a nice large battery and a very nice attractive price point. One of the things I'll probably say is, although this is super reflective, this is going to be very helpful whenever we're trying to take selfie videos or even taking pictures using the actual rear camera. That's going to be your best camera on this device, and use this nice reflective material here that we have on the top part of the camera to allow us to do so. Again, 50 megapixel camera sensor is what we're showing here. Large battery, very nice. There's a few colorways available. On the left side, all we have is access directly into the SIM tray with the 2 SIM cards and an SD card support. So we do have SD card. Of course, that also means we also have a headphone jack on this device. So it's very nice. No IR blaster. Bottom fire speaker, single speaker and mono. Unfortunately, no stereo speakers, but you are going to be able to support stereo if you're using a wired headset. USB-C for data charging, as well, of course, data transfer, and of course, one of the microphones on here. And of course, we'll go ahead and just unlock the device. You can see here, and it works very nice. Let's go ahead and unlock it. Touch, unlock. The display, very nice, large, again, 6.74-inch display, 90 Hz refresh rate. And of course, we have access to the Google Play services, all the applications. It is running MIUI 14. Now, out of the box, it does run MIUI 14.0.3. The model that I have has 256 gigs of internal storage. There's two versions. There's going to be the one that has 256, and then there's another one that has 128, depending on the model. That one obviously will be a little bit less expensive. Android 13 is what we're running under the hood here, of course, with MIUI 14. This is a tailored version of the MIUI 14 that runs on G85. And I say that specifically, some of the features that we are typically able to see on MIUI 14 are not necessarily present here. And I think that's one of the things is partially is Poco's implementation, but also the other option is because they don't want to overload the processor. They want this experience to be as smooth as possible, and it's something that you're able to use and enjoy on this device. So an example would be here. Let's go ahead and switch back. I'm actually able to swipe through, exactly get everything I want. Obviously, we're connected via Wi-Fi right now, so the connectivity is not an issue. I did run a quick speed test here in the US, connecting it to T-Mobile here in my area. I was able to get about 30 down and about 10 up, and the speed was actually fluctuating higher. The data used here obviously is what they were using to test it, but it was able to actually hit about almost 40. So depending on the area that you're in, if you're on T-Mobile, at least this is definitely not going to have any problems. From a Geekbench score, I did want to show you guys a Geekbench score in here just because I wanted to make sure that you guys had an opportunity to see the level of compute power that we're looking here with this processor. 432 and 1302 for multi-core. Again, budget-friendly device. This is not trying to give you basically, flagship experience. This is literally trying to give you a device that will last you for a long, long time. And not only that, can actually handle a little bit of gaming, as I'm going to show you guys a little bit with this in a second. But again, camera experience that we get in here, let's go ahead and turn it on. This is obviously facing the others area. The biggest thing I'll probably say, 1080p 30 frames per second is going to be the maximum you're going to be able to get here. There's not going to be much to do. There's 1080p, and of course you can jump to 720p, and pretty much the same exact experience here if you jump in here. Again, it's not a limitation of the 50 megapixel camera on the back. It's a limitation of the G85. 1080p front, back, and we're going to go ahead and do a quick sample right now of the front-facing and the rear-facing camera experience on, of course, the C65, and see how well this is able to capture us. We're going to start off with the front-facing camera here. It's a 1080p resolution experience at 30 frames per second. That's going to be the best. Obviously, we can go down to 720, but again, keeping in mind that the processor that we have here, the G85, it's pretty much going to be the best experience that we can get here. But I think the camera, or at least the quality of the video, should get a lot better when we're using the main sensor on the back. Now, although we're still shooting at 1080p 30 frames per second on the back, we're using now the main sensor, the 50 megapixel camera, and it's going to be the best camera that we have on this device. Coupled with the processor and of course MIUI 14, this is going to be the best experience you're going to be able to get here as far as video and audio from this device. Again, budget at about $150 on the top end. This is definitely hitting way above its mark. Large display, large battery, headphone jack, expandable storage, a lot of things we don't usually even get on some of the more flagship devices. But this should be a good audio example, well, a video example with the audio from the main sensor on the back. Now, as you saw there, again, pretty capable for what we're able to do. I probably will recommend you using, again, the main sensor on the back and that reflective material around it to be able to position yourself and get yourself centered very, very nicely. When we're looking at the camera, before we leave the experience here, you notice there's a 1x and 2. Those are pretty much just a digital zoom, and we don't have an ultra wide. And to be able to use the additional sensors to jump into that macro experience, you do need to go into the settings in here and then jump in and turn on the macro function for you to access the actual camera that we have in there. Now, to be able to customize your refresh rate experience, just jump directly into this, obviously the display section. By default, it's set to be on the recommended, but you're also able to go to custom, and there you can either force it to stay in 60 or jump into 90 frames per second or 90 hertz, and that's going to be the experience that you're able to get here. 90 hertz from 60 is actually a 50% improvement. A lot of people don't realize that it's a much bigger improvement than a lot of people coming in, especially if you're coming from a 60 hertz display. Google Play services, Google Apps, you can download and install all the applications that you want. I was also able to play PUBG Mobile on this. It's actually not bad at about 30 or probably almost 40 frames per second. It was actually pretty nice and pretty playable for an extended amount of time. Again, that's one of the benefits of that large display. We can't complete this entire testing of audio and video, of course, without doing our audio test. This is going to be Alex Crindo Jumbo by NCS Release, our favorite song on the channel. Let's go ahead and play it. Volume is set to be at 100%, so that's going to be the best experience. Again, mono bottom firing speaker, so we're going to keep the phone in this orientation to get the best audio possible.
Jack it up.
Audio is not too bad. It's definitely not the loudest, and it is a little bit tinny at 100%, so I feel like you'll get better audio with the headphone jack than we will get with the bottom firing speaker. But for casual phone calls and so on, I think this should be pretty decent. Again, keeping in mind the price point that we're looking into here. From a gaming experience, we're going to go ahead and jump into a quick sample of PUBG Mobile running on the C65, and of course showing you guys exactly how we're able to actually get the best experience on, again, a very affordable device. Now, the gaming experience is pretty much a straightforward experience. It's definitely going to run at a lower refresh rate, and the resolution is not going to be as high. Again, keeping in mind what we're getting here. But the experience is definitely tailored to what you're paying for. For about 150, 160 bucks, you're going to be getting a large display, a 5,000 milliampere battery, and of course the ability of enjoying content for an extended amount of time. And that's the biggest thing in here. Again, I'm showing you guys some samples, of course, watching Netflix on this. It's a large display and it's not going to disappoint. I will say the headphones are going to be the best solution on here because it provides you not only stereo speakers, but you're able to control the volume on it and not necessarily have to push the speaker that we have on here too high. It does fire only downwards, so you don't get that stereo experience, but with the headphones, it gives you both loud, better audio, and in stereo. Let's talk a little bit about the cameras that we get in here. You saw a sample example of what you're able to do with the video on the front and on the back. The images I'm going to share with you guys right now are of using this device here in my neighborhood, and one of the things I probably will say that surprised me the most is how well these images are exposed and what you're able to do in good lighting. Even in a little bit of a lower lighting, where I was able to take a picture of my Realme, the Realme figurine that I put together, the Lego one, with a backlit LEDs with my PC, you could definitely appreciate that it does actually a decent amount of, well, I'll do well, but I feel like it needs more light. The processor is definitely one of the limiting factors here, but where we're getting here and with the price point and the functions that we get in here, this is punching way above its belt, way above its basically weight limit, if anything else. And it gives us that experience that we can only get from Poco. So let me know what you guys think of this device. It's definitely a super ultra budget device that is great for, let's say, somebody getting their first smartphone, somebody getting into smartphones, or even wants to have a backup phone. I feel like the C65 is definitely great. And if you're really on a budget and you want to be able to get a new phone running the latest version of Android 13 and MIUI 14, this is definitely going to hit the spot. And of course, Poco always does, and they deliver on what they promise. Thank you very much for the support. Like and subscribe as usual. And of course, I'll see you in the next one.